BLG. And then they're also taking away the Ezreal. So it's 2 AD carry bans this early phase. Starting to see a clear plan here on how BLG want to attack top esports, and it's trying to slow down the guy who's been in nearly as many finals as Mr. Knight.
I think especially because of how BLG want to play bot lane, they don't really want to put a lot of resources into it. They want it to be something that can scale into the late game relatively efficiently, and they want On specifically to have the freedom and the priority to roam like he was able to on the Camille in game number 1. What that screams to me, especially if you're banning out things like Ezreal that can take away the Karma in theory as well, you know, something like the Lucian that takes away the Milio, it screams to me that Caitlyn is going to be a priority for the team in this draft. It's something that they play a lot of, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they really kind of go for that early in this one.
We'll have to see here if that is the call out. Caitlyn Elise. We'll have to look out for that later on here as we have gone back into our draft, and well, we were speeding through the picks, and then we really thought about Tian on the Trundle lock-in, but it will come through nonetheless. What do we want to try and pair with this? It's another draft where top esports look to try and lock down their top side in that first phase if we get a mid lane pick here for Creme.
This is a really fragile solo lane setup here. I just think that with Lee Sin in the game, he can add a lot of variability from the lanes. I personally still like Victor more. I think he is a strong laner. It allows for them to smooth over some of the issues we had, which was BLG essentially running the early and mid parts of that first game to snowball themselves to a win. And Aurora does have some damage up front, but she is not the same burst mage that I think we saw from her even earlier this year and parts of last year. Annie just makes this so much more consistent. I feel like Lee Sin Annie is the new version of like Nefiri Annie or Nefiri Talia that we saw from last year.
Definitely. I really like this pick from Knight, even on top of the fact that Knight has played a ton of Annie and has found a ton of success on it. I think we're all remembering maybe a 14-kill Annie game from a little earlier on in the playoffs that maybe caught a lot of people's eyes, but in this matchup, the lack of range on Aurora just makes it so difficult to find those clear engage angles throughout a lot of the mid game, which does stifle a lot of the backline access that that champion wants to have. Generally, this is a great setup for Lee Sin. You're going to be useful in the later part of the game. If TES don't draft something really engage-oriented in the support position, I have a hard time really finding out how they start fights or how exactly they avoid a lot of the engage here.
And what a treacherous slope that is, right, to find an engaged champion at this point that you feel comfortable in. Now that we have the Rakan taken away, right? We already all pointed out so well that, hey, listen, Camille, Alistair, those are very limited engaged support champions that we still feel like are comfortable to pick in the meta. Now you lose the Rakan. Karma ban as well coming through for BLG, so really just trying to hamper the ability for top esports to try and play heavy for this 2v2. There's the Nami ban as well, so we've gotten rid of, you know, any Karma combination, Corki Nami, Lucian Melio's gone. What can JackeyLove and Fengyue pick towards to try and punish BLG's bottom lane?
You could pick Ziggs.
There you go. Or steal the Caitlyn comp away if you want to try that as JackeyLove, but that's a pretty audacious swing, especially if Viper just locks the Caitlyn here.
There's Caitlyn. Well, Caitlyn gets banned by top esports on 5, so I think Ashe is most likely the best option we're going to have left here in this game. I think for BLG just allows them to answer their Ziggs. Ashe as an answer into this I think is completely fine. Otherwise, highly likely that we're going to be getting a Jhin coming in here from top esports. If they just want to try to answer lane, I guess we're getting Misfortune Nautilus, which I think is actually an okay answer into Annie and Ziggs.
This is exactly what I was thinking. It sets up either for Misfortune or Jhin and then the Nautilus here on the final pick. Honestly, that's just kind of what I'm expecting at this point. You might as well take the Nautilus now because you can play it with either. You need engage on the support side of this just to set up for the Trundle and the Aurora and everybody else. And whatever weak side or, I guess, strong side in Misfortune's case, AD carry that you want to play here, I think makes a lot of sense. Notably for me, I thought Yunara Lulu could have been an option in this game, especially for BLG if they wanted to go in that direction, but definitely the early priority from the Lee Sin playing alongside Annie and Ziggs setup. You're going to have so much tempo. If this is a Jhin, it's more weak side. If it's a Misfortune, they definitely want to fight more.
And it will be the Jhin. Right. So I don't hate the Jhin knowing these solo lanes, right? The fact that you're going with a Jace and an Aurora, like very high intensive damage top side here for top esports, but there we go with On at it again. So he is now going to go into this grand finals. His first 2 champions played in this meta are Camille and Shen. I love this guy, man.
Kman, I think I know who BLG's been scrimming. I think we can see who BLG's been scrimming, internationally speaking, with our two finals going on at the same time here. We're going for Ziggs Shen. This is such a weak lane. If BLG are going to fight early in the 2v2 here, I would be hard-pressed to be seeing Jin Nautilus lose this unless something really goes wrong. Shun has to basically play in 2 separate lanes. There's not going to be much going on top side. I think if Trundle's able to get early active, then I think we have some really good starts here for top esports.
I can definitely see that happening for sure, but I will say I really worry that top esports are not seeing it like that. I think they drafted the Nautilus to roam around the map and to play it with Trundle rather than to play it with the Jin and to try to take advantage of this bot lane. I'm hopeful that they can adapt and make sure the Shen is put into a bad spot, but if they do just stick to their guns and they want to try and get these 2 supports out on the roam, I think BLG are much better set up to take advantage of that even in the early game here, where I think they are going to have quite a bit of pressure coming out from the Lee Sin, even from K'Sante and Annie on the top side of the map, who are going to be fine in terms of trying to take these skirmishes. I think top esports have to read this right, or else it could go very bad very fast.
And surely BLG isn't a good team at punishing early mistakes. We'll have to see, though. We're on to the Rift. Game 2, BLG top esports.
Someone in our chat, please go reach out, get over into Wuhan, and let them know that they need to connect the crowd mic onto our feet, please.
Yeah.
We can hear the gyos. We're level 1 in mid, bro. We're
Yep.
level 1 in mid, man.
Creme, say bye to your flash, or just get taunted
dead.
and die. Oh, the auto's 1 short! And the turret gets first blood for Creme! Okay! There's some mystical power on top esports' side.
I guess Cream's just gonna have to TP back. Congratulations on the 400 gold. I thought he was gonna die to Deathfire Touch, so I was ready to see Knight start off with 400 gold himself. I mean, cool, you started the level 2, and now Ziggs, he's gonna farm. You already knew you were gonna lose priority. That completely backfired. I have no other words. I don't know how to explain my way around that one.
Shen support already showcasing some of the things we've seen out of Shen support. We're going to see that lane get pushed in. Fengyue definitely going to be a bit of a problem now as we continue to play on. As we see on the bottom of our screen, played this once before and did not pick up the win. See if things can be different. I think getting Creme accelerated specifically in the mid lane is best case scenario for top esports. They need middle of the map pressure, and we talk about Creme needing to step up against Knight. You know, Creme sometimes gets criticism for being more of this assassin player that wants to play on the backline and find these flanks, but he's going to have the opportunity to do that here.
Creme has also been a player that has been categorized at points in his upcoming, his rise as one of our premier mid laners of the LPL is potentially a guy who could be, the next Knight or to challenge Knight for one of the better mid laners. And while, that's definitely not what we've gotten this year, mainly thanks to how damn impressive Knight's been. It's important to remember that, especially with how much pressure top esports in this iteration of the roster especially put on this guy. The top esports have passed. There's no 369 as a veteran on the top side. It's Creme that has to do a lot of that heavy lifting.
And these are our playoff KDA leaders just from before the series. The fact that Creme 10.9 KDA across 10 games is crazy stuff. And it's kind of reflected in the fact that top esports have had such a dominant playoff so far. Here in the finals now, Game 1 was a complete anomaly. That was a black hole of pressure around all parts of top esports map. Junglers are on opposite sides now.
Oh boy, here we go. Bin pretty trapped up in his spot here. Tries to use the Unstoppable to bait out maybe the pillar. He's gonna have to flash regardless. Good gank there from Tian as junglers start to make their presence known in the lanes.
Really effective play there coming in from Tian to get that flash onto the top side. It really makes K'Sante's lane a lot more difficult. Get the backstop here onto Shun. Fengyue's going to take a little damage. He should be completely fine here. Getting in the back actually delayed is really impactful on opening up the map here for the Lee Sin. You don't really want to be behind in tempo, especially after you kind of got your play delayed. Of course, we'll try to catch the wave as much as possible, but overall, I like this start for TES, being able to get that flash onto the top side. You have that gold lead onto Creme. Things got out of control really fast in game number 1. They definitely have a much more stable ground to stand on here in game 2.
Much more stable indeed. And part of that, back delay allowed Tian to get a ward, so they can continue spotting
Zuian,
Shun,
dude.
who's onto his Creme, but Zuian is definitely walking a tightrope here, trying to go into Bim with that low HP, and somehow both of them kind of just casually walk on out of it.
If that Q from K'Sante lands, that's a solo kill right there. Or at the very least, Zuian is going to have to use Flash. Now, Fengyue does technically have a flank. Tian doesn't look like he wants to be here. He looks like he just wants to go for his wolves. Jesus.
Line hits Viper, on though, able to body block, make sure none of those autos come through for JackeyLove, even onto himself. So, does take the bigger brunt of the chunk, but could have been a lot worse. Oh, he got a lot worse.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, there's the dredge line into the deadly flourish on top of Viper's head. He's going to be on using the heal. Fengyue going to take a turret shot there as well. The satchel charge Viper hunting to see if he can hit this Q. Fengwe's just going to respect Flash nonetheless, and somehow a great flake from the Nautilus turns into a flashless Nautilus heading back to base.
Okay, so we actually see some fight from Viper and On. It's not often that we see them be able to contest the 2v2, but they're doing so here. Knight level 6 is going to get ganked. I don't think this is going to be too successful.
Yeah, and he just throws tippers on top of Creme's head. Does throw down the weirding for a bit of extra poke damage, but should be fine. Tian going to cross back over towards the bottom side.
I'm worried about that recall here for Fengyue because now it allows him to be on the map a little bit earlier. We see that he's already in River. If top esports want, they can just go for a dragon if they feel like, hey, we have a window where their bottom lane is going to be recalled. Viper already TP'd into the lane previously. They're going to use it just to try to get vision, and if Knight gets spotted and tries to mess with this could get very, very tricky. I'm looking at the minimap. They're going to spot On coming into the Raptors, and now Shun's even exposed here on wards.
Yeah, I would find it very, very surprising if BLG full committed to this, especially without Tibbers being available for Knight. Shun's not level 6 yet. He's in a scary spot.
He's surrounded, to put it even simpler. On and Shun going to get spotted here by Fengyue, but Tian covering does mean there's not too much more to be found. I'm going to have to dash away from Tian. Neither jungler having access to that level 6, that subjugate. Such a big mark here for Tian to get a hold of. But it's top esports that have the bottom river control. And they spotted Shun crossing towards his top side, so this dragon feels like a certainty for TES.
They have, I mean, JackeyLove's going to hit level 6 on this next wave. It's not all that scary right now. They're trying to just fight top lane so that neither of these laners come through. This is just going to be early dragon. It looks like BLG are just kind of trying to answer top side, see if we can kill Zuian or get ourselves a turret plate. He's going to get spotted, though. Great ward from top esports top laner to make sure he doesn't die to this dive.
So
it's exactly what they needed. Zuian being able to get out here completely saves this play. Free Dragon over to top esports, and this is taking advantage of the lack of combat power that not only Ziggs has, but that Shen has pre-level 6. TP, though, coming in on tonight.
It's Tian again, knocking at the door. Gonna have to flash the traffic cone this time. Another good visit there from Tian. Flashless Annie in the mid lane.
Credit to Knight. He's actually doing pretty well in this laning phase. Does have to burn the flash, but he is up 10 CS after giving the first kill over. I'm sure Aurora can actually pressure this lane out pretty heavily, so definitely excited to see Knight in a position now where he's going to be pretty strong with the Swifties coming in and a lot of the mobility that's going to come in from Lee Sin and Annie skirmish potential coming online. This is a pretty good game state, I think, for Knight in particular, even with the flash burn, but now it's up to Tian. Grubs are spawning in 20 seconds. What exactly does he want to do? Does he want to full pressure those out, or does he want to try and go for something else?
Ooh, we're even getting some red buff steals here. Fengyue, does he know? Because he should get the indicator on his map. Okay, so he's going to stop him. Kind of feels bad for Shun. Doesn't even get to start the grubs, it looks like, with on the bottom side of the map. The thing I was going to talk about, and maybe similarly here, Kman, how you love Orianna and a couple of other champions. I am a very big Trundle aficionado. I love his pillar. I think against mobile champions like the Annie and the Ziggs, this pillar is going to do work, and we've already seen it start to flourish here in this game too, where if he walks mid, Annie basically gets to say, cool, I don't get to walk back, or I have to lose my flash. We're now getting a TP. Are we really going to send 5 people for these grubs now?
Why not? Hulk battery. Sonic Wave's gonna land. Immediate flash from On to get the taunt. Here comes the Inferno Bomb over top. Fengyue should drop. It's one more auto. Can On get close enough? He gets the heal speed up to try and get there. Has to commit everything to find that kill. But Knight drops the tippers. Catches Tian trying to get out of the skirmish. Creme used the Between Worlds to try and help
Oh
out
my
his team.
God.
Oh, he's going to find his Shun, kicking his face down as he picks up the multi-kill. JackeyLove here trying to clean things up, gets the crit shot on tonight to find one fleeting kill. But BLG come out the victors nonetheless.
Jesus Christ, BLG. We're just fighting for Raptors, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to just try to move in and muscle all over top esports. Viper, he moved in for that. He TP'd into the second tier turret in mid, and JackeyLove was still farming his wave on bottom side. An immaculate punish coming in from BLG.
Viper,
Oh, Viper, no!
Oh, he's going to flash, but Fengyue going to follow him. Curtain call coming from halfway across his screen. The lockdown comes through. The fourth shot may not land, but Tian's there to find the kill. A head-scratching play from Viper.
The mechanical execution just not there. The chaos is very much
That hurts
bleeding
me to
over
hear.
from game number 1, but we've got a much closer game in terms of how this is breaking down. A 500 gold lead, but all of that is going to be on the Lee Sin, who is now setting his sights once again on the Jace under tower.
Already has the Eclipse done. Oh my god, you said it was just a Lee Sin? No, it's the whole damn party. Pulling up out of the bus here towards the top side for Zuian. Fengyue, thank you to our observers. He's desperately trying to run on over there, but he's not even at the tier 2 turn as the wave does arrive. 4 versus 1, all to go after the rookie. And with one taunt, there's more than enough damage to bring it home. Zuian will die to this dive.
I'm actually like not super against Zuian dying there. Like, it is 300 gold. It is going to be the wave being missed, but there's no turrets or there's no waves there for BLG to practice on, and he just top esports now get to completely eat all of this bottom side jungle here. So it's bad for the Jace. I think it is good for top esports game that not much more goes way to the wayside. This was the fight for the grubs that we saw. Creme, unfortunately, is not really able to squeeze the last bit of damage here against this. I was thinking maybe there was going to be a little bit of something coming on through, but we just don't have the DPS, especially with Jin just not in position.
Not in position indeed. We're going through a couple technical difficulties, but you know, maybe the replay was just really upset with how long it took them to kill off Fengyue. That was what got me nervous, Kman. I was sitting there thinking like, you know, just like on the edge of their seat trying to find that kill that could have made it worse. But imagine if they got that kill much earlier in that fight, right?
Oh, things absolutely are different for BLG, and I already was kind of hyping up the fact that they had a lot more combat power in that stage because you had the Annie ult back online, Lee Sin had hit level 6, and I was starting to get concerned that even though top esports were in a good spot to be able to take advantage of the lack of mobility, if BLG were the ones kind of determining where the fight starts, they have more tools to be able to punish somebody who might be a little bit overextended. The problem was they just barely didn't have enough damage to cut down that Nautilus. It was an okay setup, and BLG are still in a very good spot, but this game really is on a knife's edge right now. Top esports are doing their best to be able to countermap, something they don't always do at a really high-end level. Typically, they're just flying in, trying to take those 3v3s, 4v4s. In this game, it really does feel a lot more tactical. I think they have learned at least a couple of lessons from game number 1.
See if they can continue making those adjustments pay off here as we look to continue into this game too. I've gotten word that it's actually not an issue on our end. It actually might be a Huya feed issue, which I guess scares me a bit more. To be honest with you, that could be more of a problematic issue to have to deal with nonetheless. But I think that is a positive sentiment that in this game too, it does seem like so far the top esports Alk Battery have done a bit better job kind of recovering for getting that the game 1 woes. Definitely feels like they've been maybe woken up, washed the rust off, whatever you want to talk about. This is a much better early game so far from TES.
I mean, well, yeah, Shen walked in level 1 and died, so that's already way better than it was game 1 for top esports. And among other things, there has been a lot of different things kind of going on in this one. Like, we talked about the draft obviously just doesn't allow for BLG to get away with this, but they still try to do it anyway. And I think while it is creative that Bilibili have decided to put Viper on champions like the Varus we saw in game 1 and then the Ziggs here in game 2 to just be a wave clear bot and allow for Shen to roam, a lot of Shen's power is kind of gated behind his ultimate. And as you're not going to use that, then as a support, you really have to be on top of the 2v2s and 3v3s. So it seems like we're back. We no longer have to vamp. There we go.
Hey,
we missed a fair amount of the game here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 6-6. I don't even remember what the kill count was before this. BLG, they have a dragon back in their hands as well, and they're hunting for Creme. Oh, Sonic Wave is going to go live there from Shun. So Creme should be able to kind of just mosey his way on out there with the rocket belts. Here's Tian as well in the area, but all right, we missed a lot of fighting, but once the cameras came back on, no one decided to fight around that top side.
For me, I mean, this is a pretty good game state for Top Esports. They have a 1K gold lead on Aurora. Rocket Belt completed. You're going to be able to find the backline more efficiently. Just have to make sure you don't make the mistake now with Shun in the area.
Oh, boy. All right. I mean, Shun revisits. Oh, actually.
This is the same play.
Oh, my God. It's the same play.
Is it not?
Wait.
It is.
It's the exact same play. How did that just happen? How did it? I didn't even realize when it switched back. I mean, I wasn't watching the clock, but all right, guys. There's some Matrix stuff going on here, regardless.
Yeah. Remember, guys, volunteer broadcast. Also, the feed is not our own. We do not have a direct line to LPL in the same way that we would if we were an official broadcast. So please bear with us, and thank you for your patience. But Kman, I'm looking at this map state, and while Creme has 1,000 gold lead, man, I just saw Jin has a Yomu's. Okay, so JackeyLove's not going to be a part of this game. Never mind.
Yep. I know, Alk, that you've gotten. I didn't want to do the same spiel because you have pretty validly flamed me for having this conversation too many times, so I wasn't going to touch it. I'm glad you touched it. Yeah. That's a stinky build path there from JackeyLove. I am disappointed, but luckily he is mostly here to enable the top side, and more importantly, the solo lanes that, like you pointed out, it's not just Creme that has a huge gold lead, it's also Zuian that is up some decent gold as they try and feed more here. But Ben's looking to turn around. The 2v1 goes all out as they deliver the battle shed in, and Ben finds the kill on a Tian. Zuian's going to flash over the wall and try and get away from BLG. Here's the Sonic Wave through as Shun is going to follow the dredge line there from Fengyue. Deadly Flourish will stop him in place, but he's got another Sonic Wave. He's going 40, tries to go for the kick. Oh, but the kick doesn't go over the wall, but it doesn't matter because the Mega Inferno Bomb rains down Hellfire on its way on. The curtain call can't find the trade, and somehow, someway, BLG pick up another.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for being able to carry this one on the K'Sante this time. I mean, he gets the 2v1 versus these guys, and then Shen's able to come through. They even get this wave underneath the top side. Just like, I don't know what else to say other than that Ben Sante is really outperforming now. And this is now the other side of the matchup that I was criticizing Zuian with this blind Jace.
It's exactly it. I mean, we get a replay of exactly what happened here. We cannot stress enough. The last time we saw K'Sante and Jace in a game for BLG versus Top Esports, it did not look like this for the K'Sante. The Shen ult coming down basically makes this champion unkillable even through the all-out. Once you burst down the Trundle, there is no one here who can actually separate for the rest of his team. Shun arriving is just icing on top of the cake. It doesn't matter that Jin stuns him up. The mobility on these champions is just too much, and the lack of damage coming down for Top Esports outside of Aurora is so evident in a fight like this. Obviously, the Mega Inferno Bomb ends up picking up the kill there, but the tempo from BLG plays dividends there, and now we're in a game state once again where they control the pace of the game.
Just like that. Couple of skirmishes. BLG over 1,000 gold up, and oh boy. Our observers. Woohoo! Creme, good reaction time. They were definitely trying to trap him on that recall, but they won't find him. Still holding on to that lone 1,000 gold lead. Really gonna need to see a big performance from Creme in this mid game.
But now we're just kind of just getting gold for the laners here. I think we've now seen a couple of plays in a row where BLG, they're going to throw Knight or they're going to throw Shun into one of these lanes alongside this Shen. And now Knight gets to take an entire turret. We already talked about what Bin was able to get with that last play alongside another turret played on the bot lane. So I think BLG are just doing a lot better of a job utilizing jungle support to activate and get leads for their lanes. Whereas Top Esports, I don't know if it's maybe them trying to use jungle support to get Tian a lead or just trying to cover for the lanes, but it almost feels like Top Esports are a step behind the 8-ball here versus BLG.
I am very curious to see how much Top Esports want to invest into this dragon take that just spawned. It is going to be second dragon for both sides, and obviously this could be a massive fight if it does break out. TES want to give it over. It would be quite a lot of free resources, but they can fight right now.
Ooh, big implied blast cone gets Bin some space. Both mid-laners have TP. Both are going to channel it as once again Bin's trying to deliver on, but it's a huge kick from Shun to come down, and Tian is done. The Inferno Bomb does some heavy lifting, but it's Knight on the flank to find Zuian. Between worlds, Creme is just using it to run for the hills because BLG are turning in to a makeshift buzzsaw that is aimed directly at the hearts of all of top esports. It's Creme that has to flash as both the carries limp away from another BLG win.
Bilibili Gaming right now are just playing better. Shun finds the kick. Tian gets absolutely destroyed in that fight on the Trundle. No survivability. Battle Herald getting dropped here. I guess not Battle Herald at this point. The battle has concluded, but the drifting comes down. The mid lane turret will fall as well. We just watched a 1K gold lead for top esports turn into a 4K gold lead for Bilibili Gaming within the span of 3 minutes. This was an unbelievable turn. I advised against fighting over that dragon. Unfortunately, TES, once again, coming down pretty greedy as we get into this replay. It's just not a good fight for TES. Bin is way too tanky at this point in the game. Shun is playing pretty aggressive on the line here, and it feels like they can use this pillar to try and figure things out. But look at that. Look at the setup here. The kick is just gorgeous. Bin plays this fight beautifully. Ends up taking down the Trundle, and at this point, you have absolutely no way to close the gap. Jace isn't really doing anything, and Creme, with all of this gold, is using it to run away the entire fight. There's nothing to do for TES.
Man, every time on ult's Bin, TES are like Victor Wembanyama watching Jalen Brunson in the fourth, guys. Just everybody get away from that guy. He's the craziest one on the Rift. It's so fun to see how that enables BLG, and again, how On is just playing some picks that nobody else in the LPL is in support right now.
This is probably the worst cast that we can start throwing NBA references. Me and Jay Beto are just sitting here like, yay, I know basketball.
Hey man,
we never.
Listen, that one was just because many people know that I despise the Knicks, but game recognized game, man. I had to get one out there.
Okay, all right. Well, as we maybe focus in on some more Chinese League of Legends here instead of North American basketball, I guess we have Sunny Weems here if you really need to get some more basketball references.
Yeah, come on, man. The NBA to LPL tie-in is real in this very finals.
I was going to say we've already technically sent James Harden over to the LPL, but I don't really want to take a pot shot at Javon like that. So
I will always remember. Who was it that it was? Who did Melo take a selfie with last year? I think it was JackeyLove.
It was.
I remember Melo was out. Yeah, it was JackeyLove. Okay, yeah, it's
yes.
real.
And hey, he's using that right now. The Melo jeans are, unfortunately, you know, trying to activate.
Guys, get me out of this. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about basketball.
Hey, man, I know what you're talking about, man. Hey guys.
It's okay. The Knicks got their chip. It's fine. It's fine, Melo fans. But as we get back to the game, the 4K gold lead for BLG it mostly expresses itself in Creme getting destroyed.
Yep, and it's, again, Battle Shen, baby! We saw it with Bin, now on to, grabs on the Knight and finds that kill. And now there's no gold leads for anybody on top esports.
Well, it's looking great for BLG. If you're a BLG fan, you've been eating good all night. The past 24 hours has been maybe a little stressful, but still very, very good.
Right.
But now look at where the game state is, right? We have a 2-item Lee Sin. By the way, Shun has been smurfing on this champion in the playoffs so far. And Viper is playing a Ziggs with a almost 1,500 gold lead. They're going to just destroy turrets with 3 grubs already. And I'm under no illusion that top esports are going to get anywhere close to a Dragon Soul here in this game.
Can't get anywhere close to locking down anybody. They flash, throw out the depth charge, go after Viper, flashes away from the pillar and the dredge line. Viper's safe, but there's a TP behind. Dredge line gonna land again. Now claims on to Shun. He's gonna flash kick away Creme, and he hits way on. Knight trying to get into the back end of this fight as well. Gonna throw a long range Q to get rid of Fengyue, and here comes Bin, bringing all of BLG back forward. Tippers right on top of the head of Tian, and the bombs land onto JackeyLove. Viper able to cut down the first team All-Pro LPL AD carry.
I think that's just the game at this point, guys. Like, BLG are way too far ahead. I feel like they are just making all the right plays yet again, and they didn't even need a gold lead to do it this time. Creme is searching. No.
Okay, he commits to the between world, but Shun gets on the other side of the pillar. Viper is 1v1ing Creme, but Bin comes in to make sure that kill is committed. Shun gonna go down though to Tian on the backside. but it's just a measly 1-for-1, not enough for top esports.
It is a 1-for-1, but is it really? I mean, we just had an entire fight before that felt like it was the perfect catch. We get a replay here, the pro view of Knight being able to get that Shen pick onto the top side. Just recognizing, okay, well, farming up waves, having a good time on Annie. I don't really see anybody.
Oh, he went in this.
Roar's on my screen. Hey, yeah, nice reaction time there from Knight. Nice reaction time from On as well, being able to press that R button. It's just a mistake from Creme not recognizing the macro difference, and we think that this is a major overextension, which it is. On being here is completely illegal on the Shen. There's absolutely no reason that he should be in this spot, but unfortunately, the story of this series... actually, that was... Yeah, very true. But I want to point out the story of the series up until this point for me has been top esports finding picks, finding plays, and maybe running it down after.
We'll take the nice intro to your story here, Kman, but we got to pivot over to the Drake fight nonetheless. The top esports are scrambling to keep BLG off the soul point, but Bin goes in and immediately forces JackeyLove to flash, and it's Tian again that is desperately trying to not be the first guy to drop in another fight here as he trudges his way out of the river. And that means the top esports can say sayonara to the second Chemtech Drake, and BLG say hello to soul point.
Well, the framework for top esports was poke comp. Try to take away at some of these health bars, use the Jace, use the Aurora to chip away at BLG, but when you're behind this much gold, and more specifically, BLG are first to the play, you don't get to play this style. And I love that we're seeing BLG play ahead of the clock. They're saying, we're going to TP immediately in. We're going to have Bin set up and push these guys out. He is level 16. He's a full level over Zuian in this matchup. And now, he is so tanky that it does not matter that they have a Trundle. You can just push any one of these guys out, and he can still hit the one-on-one.
Absolutely incredible stuff from BLG. I really am just so impressed with the way that they're able to take the lead and grow it. Something they really struggled at in the regular season was playing from neutral game states, and we saw here, this wasn't a free, like, mid-game for them. They ended up playing the map incredibly well. They've opened up things with their macro and actually got into objectives first, been able to capitalize on mistakes. This is pretty clearly been Shun's arguably 2 best games of the playoffs up until this point. He's been so important for this team in the regular season and throughout split number 1 and everything like that at the beginning of the year. It's not always been there in the spring playoffs so far, but he has absolutely showed up today in the finals. This Lee Sin, now with Guardian Angel completed, was already unkillable. It's going to be even more difficult to find any avenue into these fights.
And oh boy, he's found another target. Zuian thought, oh yeah, I finally get a bot wave. Nope. He gets a kick to the forehead, an Inferno Bomb over top. Is going to flash away, but there's the Sonic Wave fall, Resonating Strike. He might have baited in Shun, who's going to get after use that GA automatically.
On ult!
As Aurora's coming in here, but here's On with the ult to try and save Shun. Creme going to find that first kill. That means no Shen arrives, and now Bin, 1 versus 4, never wins that fight. Top esports with 2 kills back for nothing.
The Trundle barely gets out alive on the other side of that fight from Knight just full comboing him, but did I just see a top esports fight where they got some kills and then didn't run it down immediately after? That is a good sign. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to take advantage of their aggression. Champions like Lee Sin, champions like Shen, they require you to make these aggressive plays around the map. BLG are going to keep having to look for them, but if you open it up, if you start to take these fights at the wrong time, you still can be pretty susceptible. This is not a free win, and top esports might have found their way back into this game.
A super tight timer for them to do that, by the way, because while that fight is going on, On's ult is ticking. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. It goes off, they get it onto Lee Sin, but he still goes down. That's the GA as well. That's not going to be available for this Dragon coming up in 2.5 minutes, which would be Soul here for BLG. Yeah, this is the same fight. Really creative, I think. It's a bit unfortunate that they could not get this in, but with everybody else already on here, I'm actually a little more interested in seeing what happened in the mid lane, because as long as Annie, Ziggs, and Shen can actually kill Trundle, going even in this fight is decent. By the way, can we just take a note that they had to put 4 people to kill Lee Sin and Cassante? I think that's a bit worrisome, but with the game state as it is, I think as top esports, you're just going to have to take whatever you can get.
We got to factor in, they didn't have to just kill 1 Lee Sin, they had to kill 1.5 Lee Sin. So, you know, just remember, guys, GA, right?
Certainly something.
Just try, you know, we got to give something, guys. Come on, top esports, we got to breathe life back into them somehow as well, because despite those nice picks, they found a couple of those big shutdowns in game 1. It didn't end up mattering that much, and despite the fact they find those 2 critical kills, they're still 3K down, and you guys mentioned we're going to have Baron and Chemtech still up at virtually the same time in a minute's time for BLG to play with.
Yeah, and Ulk made a great point on that previous exchange where there is no Guardian Angel now for the Lee Sin. It's going to be much more difficult for him to find his way onto the backline. You did give quite a bit of gold over to the Trundle. If there is a way to be able to play around this Lee Sin, especially with no GA, it's going to be that Trundle being in the right place at the right time, being able to beat down some of the, hopefully, squishier members that are available. If you're playing that front to back, it does become a lot more difficult, but it's the only setup they've got.
Important cooldowns to be looking ahead of this fight. Seeker's Arm Guard here for Viper, and 3-item JackeyLove. He has been the captain for this team. He continues to be a leader for these guys both in and out of game, and he's going to need to show up. We've been talking about all the other players on this roster, but JackeyLove on this Jhin alongside Fengyue have such a big job, and they're gonna have their flashes as we go into this next dragon.
The Sonic Wave from Shooty to immediately go for the insect that grabs JackeyLove by the jaws, and the explosion from Viper gets rid of JackeyLove. Fengyue to fall right after. It's Shun to make sure there isn't a shot in the world. One of the most decorated carries in the LPL can fight it out.
You know what? Just give Shun the MVP for this game at this point. Jesus Christ, man. He just snapped JackeyLove's head off with a single kick. That's soul here for BLG, and if they feel confident enough, that might just be Baron afterwards. Top Esports, I think they're in full desperation mode now.
Oh, man. It's the Between Worlds from Creme, but he's just trying to bait Ben around. Look how big this tanky health bar is from the level 17 Cassante. TES are completely gated off of this Soul Dragon. They have a ward on it. Viper's starting to get some decent chip damage in early. TV's coming through here for BLG to try and make this a numbers advantage in their side. JackeyLove not even respawned just yet, and Ben going in to set the taunt from on. Zuian to go down, and now Ben's going all out. Creme into the stasis. He has to flash away, but Ben will follow him. The Tofu Strike pullback. Ben's got 1. Ben's going to pick up 2, and he might just have dessert on the menu as well. Fengyue gonna dredge line, but Knight flashes and drops the Timber's hammer. JackeyLove respawns just to be scorched back down to death. Ace, Bilibili Gaming.
BLG, there were questions about what kind of team was going to show up today after their performance against WE yesterday. Those questions have fully been answered. This is the best that this team has looked in the playoffs. They are dismantling Top Esports 1 by 1 in these team fights. Shun with one of the greatest Lee Sin engages you will see to catch JackeyLove at the start of this first exchange. I hope we get a cinematic replay of this because this is gorgeous. The hook dodge, the flash coming through, landing onto Jhin. This is one of the best Lee Sin plays you will ever see. Give him the MVP right now. The cleanup on Nautilus is just icing on top of the cake. And everything after that was perfect as well. Bin picking up the double kill. The Annie for Knight popping off in these fights, and Baron now going over.
Look, Shun is not the perfect player. He has made his own fair of mistakes. We've seen him struggle in some of these bigger games, but I swear, man, this BLG team this year, he has done everything to set up his own laners for success, but on this Lee Sin especially, the carry player in him is coming out to play. He is smurfing in this game. He has smurfed in the playoffs so far. And now with a Soul, now with Baron, I think that BLG are looking at a 2-0 lead and potentially the entire series if they can win this game here.
What a player.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Zuian. Meet Knight once again, my friend. Rocky Belt for the kill. All right, we're going to immediately get rid of Shun's GA again. But this time, I think BLG can cover for him a bit better. He's got a partner to try and ward hop too, but Fengyue is actually going to interrupt it. JackeyLove finds that kill. In though, on the hunt here. Trying to see if he can pick off the stragglers. It's the enhanced blast cone that will get Creme and Fengyue out of dodge. Bin still chasing, still relentless, but Knight is going for one hell of a long flank, but I think Timbers actually gives him away, walking through that pink ward. Fengyue gonna meet Timbers head on. Creme and Tian nearby, and BLG, they're not gonna press their luck that far.
I mean, a 1-for-1, I guess, is okay. All things considered for Top Esports at this point. I mean, you're basically guaranteed to die as the Jace if you push up anywhere close to the point he was at, which is very close to his tower. Just the unfortunate circumstance of this, or very close to taking the tower. 7k gold lead, though, still on BLG's side. Does mean that the Baron, at least for now, is going to get delayed. I think without the Lee Sin, it's a lot more difficult to try and play the map, especially burning that GA is going to delay some of their timers, but what that means is that with Elder spawning in just under 4 minutes here, about 3.5, that is likely going to be what we're playing for at this point. It's going to be a lot more difficult for BLG to push forward and feel as aggressive in their fights at this point.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed. BLG are looking so good in these finals. After a struggle, they lost their first series coming in versus WE, and then rounding out the lower bracket. We've seen tons of lower bracket runs coming in from teams, but I think nothing quite like this where you just completely surge through the entire bracket. It doesn't matter if it was a Group Nirvana team. It doesn't matter if it was 2 other top 3 teams here in the league. Bilibili have made almost everybody look like, well, maybe Chorus was really the toughest mid lane matchup that Knight has had all playoffs.
I mean, listen, I gotta back you with that, Ulk. As gross, if you had said that to somebody before Split 2 kicked off, would have been a very weird look they would have given you. But at this pace, I love that statement from you, Dimitri. The push, by the way, the Baron push is fully in tote in the mid and top lane. The 4-1 split. Zuian in your picture-in-picture is going to try and trade an objective bounty dump turret on the backside, but top lane inhibitor turret is down, unable to dash his way out of a TES pick. And BLG, they don't need to go for the 4-1. Yeah, they're just going to go for the game here. Nexus turret under threat. TP, Zuian coming back through his Viper, does go into the stasis early just to prevent an engage there. Fengyue, Pillar gonna go down. Shu doesn't have that GA, but they've got Timbers, and they've got Tian again. He's got a flash and heal, and the crit shot does come onto On. Viper over the wall, separated. BLG not able to commit to a lot of these low health bars. It's Tian with the subjugate. Starting to run forward. Shun picked off here. Deadly Floret's going to be flashed away, but Shun is still slowed. Between Rolls comes down, but Bin gets rid of Fengyue. Look at Bin just hold all of TES in space. Goes all out to pull Tian away from his team, and the Resonating Strike sets up Knight to find the kill. But Bin's not done. He's still going after top esports, but he goes too far. JackeyLove picks up that kill, as Knight is somehow taking a mid lane inhibitor while all this was going on. And BLG will exit the top esports base.
No, we're going. We're still going. We're still going. Creme,
Viper!
he's gonna TP out.
Creme doesn't have anything to stop him. Oh my God! Viper just mogged Creme. Oh, it followed!
No! It's because the Q, the way that it works on Aurora is that after 2.5 seconds, it automatically goes. So it doesn't matter how far away he is. Viper dies. And we've got a minute before the Elder Dragon, and now Viper, he has no TP, but he's gonna have his Zonias.
You know, I was starting to actually get concerned. I was starting to get worried. I didn't think BLG was still in there. It felt like a very different team that we were seeing today from what we have seen, but you know, having a Baron buff, having no GA on Lee Sin, and deciding that is the time to end the game, that's the BLG that I know. Obviously not a great fight for them, but with Elder spawning in 40 seconds, Knight is lying in wait. If he gets a kill here, that could be the entire game over.
No, Jackie, don't do this.
Jackie, please.
No. Okay, no. Nobody's gonna walk up to Knight. Castle curse. Nobody's gonna walk up to Knight. Okay, nobody's actually gonna walk up to Knight. At some point, he's gonna commit to this flank. At some point.
But he doesn't even have to walk. Like, he could just walk behind the minion wave. Once it passes, they have no ways. I mean, he knows that there's a Jin trap as well, so if he really needs to, he can flash. He still has his teleport. He can always reposition. And I love this from BLG, where Shen just sits in Fog of War. You have no idea whether or not there's going to be +1 or +2 people on the play here. BLG now, walking in as top esports, have to fight for what is the last objective of the game.
They're so scared. They're so terrified. They're going to use the blast, going to go after Shun. Pillar down. But here comes Side off the flank. And he's found JackeyLove. Immediate cleanse. Flash from JackeyLove. Gets himself out. Creme going to drop the Between Worlds. But the kick from Shun serves Creme up right in front of Viper. Can he finally commit this kill? Yep, there's Knight to find that one. As Ben has pulled Tian into all the BLG. How does JackeyLove ever find a window in to push the damage out? There's no way. Top esports, they've used all their gas. And they've got to head back to the tank. And they'll be losing an Elder for it.
Elder is gone for free. JackeyLove has to go back to base just to catch the wave to not end the game. BLG are relentless. It looks like TES are looking for a miracle engage, but they go for the Lee Sin and they leave the Annie completely unmarked on the back end of the fight. Jackie has to burn everything just to survive. There's nothing to do at this point, and Knight's setting up in the exact same spot. He is
doing
just
it again.
living in this enemy jungle.
Oh,
now he's got an Elder buff. Oh no! If he finds if he found Jack.
Okay, so he has Rocket Belt. Fengyue can take the Blast Cone. Trundle's also going to try to follow, but I'm looking at the rest of BLG. They're just going to be able to open up on the rest of the map here. I respect the look there from Bilibili, but Phaelites plus extra vision means that top esports are not going to get punished. They're just going to go straight over to the Baron. Top esports, if you don't fight this one, you're going to lose. If you try to fight versus Elder, you're going to lose. So it's almost like a waiting to die at this point here for them and waiting to be sent to the great screen and getting ready for game 3.
Baron now in the hands of BLG, and it is aptly synced up with that Elder buff. They're going to be about a minute off of each other, and that makes this push wherever BLG want to go completely deadly.
Best of 5 record, by the way, all time between these two organizations. 7-3 in favor of BLG and 7-1 since 2023 in favor of Bilibili.
Every time this guy gets GA up, he's like, I'm going to limit test into all of top esports and then immediately lose the GA. But luckily, this time he doesn't die out of the GA like the last 2 times, resurrects back up, and allows for the push to enter the top esports base and gives them a very difficult equation to solve.
I mean, the equation here is hope and pray. You have a lot of damage from range with the chase. You have to get it down early. If you are not poking these champions out, this fight is completely unwinnable.
Photobomb going to go wide there from Viper as he tries to chip down JackeyLove, who skates around the damage decently. And Hipper going to respawn to slow down this push. And the Kurt call comes out. They're going to try and block these shots. They're going to commit the Stand United onto Viper. On is going to get interrupted, but there's Nexus turret 1 down. BLG going to step up to find the second one as well as they drop the hammer onto Fengyue, just trying to play bodyguard on the front side. Viper and Knight buying their time, but it's Bin that's going to flash forward because he has found JackeyLove. Bin gets the shutdown, and Bin ends the game. BLG 1 game away from being your back-to-back LPL champions.
Goddamn. It looks good, man. Woo. It looks so good when BLG do it like this. When they are winning their lanes, when they're playing a full court press onto top esports. Every time we have seen these guys match up, it has gone somewhat the distance, but it has always gone BLG's way here in the finals.
And we're not just getting a BLG win, we are getting the BLG win. We are getting the performance that we needed to see. There have been so many questions about whether or not this is the same team and whether or not they were exposed throughout a lot of the playoffs, throughout a lot of the regular season. Is this a team that has the macro? Is this the team that has the late game to be able to actually perform against some of the best teams that are now, stronger than they were in split number 1? Every single one of those questions right now is being answered. It feels like there's not a single thing that top esports has thrown at them that they are not prepared to outplay and outmaneuver. Their ability to play the map has been unbelievable, and this is truly turning into a Shun Legacy series.
A Shun Legacy series, a legacy continuing to build of BLG in 2026. Game 2 goes their way, and they are now on the precipice, on the cuff of finding themselves split 2 champions. Before we get there, we got to go back to our desk where I'm sure Mr. Quacks will have a lot to say about Shun.
Yo, I might not be a Rizzler, but I do know Shun's Lee Sin's looking pretty darn good, all right? That's all I'm saying. Undefeated on the Lee Sin, insects left and right. An incredible game by BLG. I'm Azel. I'm joined by Jay Beto and Quacks. And thanks to the casters for a wonderful cast. But a BLG who is not taking no for an answer when they're on a search for another championship here, Jay Beto.
Yep. A massive upscale from last night. We'll get into it a little bit later, but not happy with how I ended up predicting this series because I think BLG showed some real weakness last night, and it feels like they've managed to change it up. I don't know if it was a Weibo post or just an interview comment that Bin made before the series started that he said, don't worry, this is going to be a lot easier than the WE series. And, I mean, Bin's known to have some strong words sometimes, but he's been right. And not only has he been right, but he's kind of been the unsung star of the series so far. An unreal weak side performance from Bim. Shun links up with him and a legacy Lee Sin performance, and then Knight is just the best player in the world. I'm ready to say it. He is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. He's been the best player in the world, honestly. And I think for BLG, This is a really fun series so far for them because we've been talking in their lower bracket run about how the macro has improved, how the late game has improved, how these characteristics that were previously kind of the Achilles heel of BLG in the regular season and in years past have kind of come through and improved as they have gone through the lower bracket. But we never fail to go back to the source of what made them a strong team to begin with, and that was the micro. And unfortunately for TES, they're just getting hands diffed. We're seeing a lot of skirmishes happen in the early and mid game, and every single one of them feels like BLG are just better.
And it's the individual performances, I think, that are shining so much. My God, Vince Casante was disgusting. I think when we get to see moments from these players individually throughout this series already in 2 games, I think it's always so important to just be in the moment and see that this is an incredible performance from BLG, kind of regaining a lot of the trust that maybe was lost with that round 1 loss to WE. But it's a team that's firing on all cylinders. We got a Viper. We got a Viper Ziggs doing 47k here, twinning with Knight at least, but an impeccable performance across the board, Jay Beto.
I've never seen that happen before. Exactly to the 1,000. I wonder how close. Oh, sorry, to the 100. I wonder how close exactly they were to getting exactly the same damage. Do you just check post game and go, like, are you trying to copy me, bro? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, ridiculous series from BLG so far. We're talking about the solo lanes, and it would be there would be a gap. I didn't think the gap would be this big, and I have been a BLG solo lane enthusiast throughout, their lower bracket run. It looks ridiculous. And Mazel, you were asking me earlier in the series about what top esports need to do, and I still think JackeyLove's been quiet, but there are so many holes all over top esports gameplay that it's really hard to just fix them all in one go.
I think just something I want to highlight as well is, like, we do need to remember there is a stark contrast between the experience majorly on these teams, right? You have BLG have been together. We obviously have Viper coming in this year, but it's a team that's been functioning well together, that's found success already. We have 2 guys on top esports, one of the most known organizations in the LPL in this era, who are first timing it here in the finals, especially off of a lot of growth throughout the season. I think it's important to know that maybe sometimes that pressure is a little bit too much. Those learning moments coming a little bit too quickly here, Quacks.
For sure. I think that top esports, it's really always super endearing to have these younger rosters make it to internationals, but BLG were the favorites. They're acting like it. A lot of people predict this team to be the top dogs in this series and beyond just because of who is on the team. And I feel like, we've been having some questions on whether or not they'll live up to the names that they behold, but this series they certainly are. And I feel like that is no more true than with the top side this game. I mean, specifically for Bin, there were so many fights where he was just absolutely dancing on top esports. 1v3 no problem, 1v4 few problems, but still managing to hold his own, right? And I also think that Shun, I mean, Legacy Series doesn't even, like, that is probably as modest as you can put it, I think. This Lee Sin game was disgusting from him.
Yeah, I think that, when the game started, we were talking about, okay, it's Shun MVP. Okay, but Knight's 13-1 or whatever he ended. Okay, but Bin is also making a massive impact.
He's
you
not
could
yielding.
give any 3 of them. Yeah, exactly. I will not yield. Correct. He takes less damage in his W. He's not yielding. But yeah, true. Ridiculous performance from all the top side, the core 3 of BLG, and this looks like a 3-0 so far. There's no other way to cut it.
Knight getting another MVP here. 19 MVPs this split. 7 in the playoffs. Wow. That's a lot. I guess rightfully did earn the MVP of the regular season from us. So there you go. And from the official too. But man, it's so hard when top esports did look so dominant in that upper bracket and finding those moments and trying to get that dominance, trying to get that early advantage to really enable the rest of the lanes has not really worked out for them.
No one could decide.
No one could decide because it was everybody. It was the whole team.
It was a team effort for sure.
That being said, we are going to slink away for a short little break while we get ready for that game number 3. And importantly enough, it is a match point for BLG. Can they make another step in the golden road? Well, we'll find out if Top Esports have anything to say about it. We'll see you for game 2.